channel, and this is a very important topic for your interview, for your upcoming interviews, maybe, or maybe you have given your interviews. I believe that most of you guys have faced such kind of questions like what is constructor chaining in Java. So in order to answer give the answer of this question, that too in particular, you need to understand what is first of all constructive chaining and why it is required, and then after that we'll quickly move on to the demo section. It won't take much time, it is a very easy topic, but sometimes in your automation framework, or even while you are doing some sort of coding in Java, you are going to make use of these particular concepts. So it is recommended, and it is highly recommended, that you should be able to understand these questions. And whenever somebody asks you, especially in an interview, at least you should have 2 to 3 points in your mind, right? So first we'll try to understand what is constructor chaining, right? So what it is. It is a way by which we can simply evoke a sequence of constructors from the same class or parent class when we try to initialize an object. So what it basically means is that, let's say there is a particular class, and if you want to try to initialize an object, and while initializing that object you want to call one constructor inside another constructor, and inside that constructor you want to call another constructor, so that a sequence of constructor are being getting invoked at the same time. So this is known as the process, or you can say that this is known as constructor chaining, right? First we'll go cover the theoretical part, and then we'll quickly go to the demo section, and then it will make even more sense, each and every line. Please pay a careful attention, so that we are also able to initialize all the constructors from one single place. This is one of the most important line. If somebody asks you, you can immediately say that, so that we can initialize all the constructors from one single place, because we do not want that. We want going every time to go and initialize a constructor, or to make changes to the code. It's better to call the code at one single point of time, and then guys, we are able to do that, right? So, and if not done, we have to initialize the parameters of all constructors that we have created. And whenever we make changes to our initialization, we have to make sure that we make changes to all constructors. At this point of time, even all these things may have not made even a single sense to you guys. Do not worry, I'm going to give demo of each and every line, right? So let's get back to our demo section. So this is a class that I've created over here named as chaining. Okay, so what is constructor chaining? By definition, it means that invoking sequence of constructors. Sequence of constructors we have to invoke. And how to do that? I will give you a demo for that, so that it gets stuck onto your mind forever, right? First, create a constructor over here. Only please try to follow the path that I am showing to you. Then all your concepts would be cleared. I've created a constructor. There are three types of constructors. Again, I'm redefining. One is your no argument constructor, one is your default constructor, and one is your parameterized constructor. So default constructor you cannot see over here, and the no argument constructor this is, and the next constructors that we are going to create would be parameterized constructor. Okay, so let's say I have created one constructor over here, and let's say I am going to print something over here. I'm going to print that, making a call, let's say, to base constructor. Let's say this is a base constructor. I'm just giving a meaningful name over here. Again, you try to call another constructor over here. Let's say I am trying to pass some parameters like integer a. So whenever you create an object, if you pass something over here, then something would happen, right? So now making a call to a parameterized constructor. So this is a parameterized constructor, guys, right? I hope you guys are able to understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, apart from that, allow me to create one more constructor, so that, guys, your concept becomes crystal clear. Let's say this is a constructor, so when you will be creating an object, you need to pass some string value over here, right? So making a call, let's say, instead of parameterizing, let's say integer constructor, and let's say calling to a string constructor, because we are passing string values to it. Now try to understand what is going to happen. There is a keyword named as this, and if you write this in parentheses, it means that you are going to make a call to a constructor of this same class, right? If I write super somewhere, it means I will tell you later on, because I will take a separate lecture of super keyword and this particular thing. So I'm not talking about in great detail, but if you write this keyword, it means that you are going to, invoke your parent class constructor. But over here, if you want to invoke your current class constructors, you have to make use of this particular, I mean this and in parenthesis, right? So I'm going to just do something over here. I'm going to do something over here. I'm going to invoke this constructor integer one. How I'm going to invoke? I'll pass some values or parameters. Let's say 20. Sorry, yeah, let's say 20. Okay, so this is done. After that, I am going to do something else over here. What I'm trying to do is that I want that, whenever I create an object, all the sequence of constructors should get, initialized. Okay, and over here, let's do something else. Let's say this, and let's pass some string over here. Let's say Alex is the string that I'm going to pass over here, right? I hope it is making sense to you guys. Okay, and after that, let's say I want to print something else over here. This is giving me some sort of error. Let me sort it out. Just give me a second. Yes. So guys, why this error is appearing, even I tend to forget, it happens. We are human beings. I'm really sorry for that. But there is an error which is defined. It says that constructor call must be the first statement in a constructor. So you cannot write this line. If you're calling a constructor, it has to be your first line, right? You cannot say that I will write it's anywhere else. It won't work. Right, the way I have written it over here, you have to write it over here as well. This should be your first line, this, and that too in parentheses, right? Okay, so I hope I am making some sort of sense over here. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an object of this class, and then I'll make it a little bit more complex. Just give me some time. Let's say chaining c equals new chaining. Okay, so what I'm going done over here, I've created an object of this class, and by definition, whenever an object of a class is created, constructor is invoked immediately, which means that I am calling a constructor, or I've created an object of this particular type of constructor. If I would have given only integer value over here, then only this would have been called. If I have given string value, then only constructor of only this type would have got created, right? This is what the complexity is all about, but you do not go over there. Just create a simple constructor of where no argument is there, right? So that we are able to understand this particular line. We are able to initialize all constructors from one single place, right? So I am initializing this constructor from here, that is this 20. I am passing the value of 20 on in my base constructor or a non-parameterized constructor, right? And after that, this control will immediately go to this line. It will pass 20 over here, and after passing value 20 over here, it will go to this line. It will say that it has to call the constructor where string is required. So it will, again, the control will go back over here, right? And the value of Alex will be provided over here, right? So let's say I want to print the value as well. Let's say I just do this, and I just do this, so that you guys are able to understand that value is also getting printed, right? I hope I am making some sense. If not, please ask me in the comment section. It will motivate me as well. Okay, so now what if I run it, what should happen? I am initializing all the constructors from one single place. I am not creating three different objects for these three different constructors, right? So this is what the power of constructor chaining is all about. See, if I have created an object of no parameterized constructor, right? Control went to this line, this 20, it went over here, and then again this control went to this Alex, I mean constructor, which is accepting string value. So constructor accepting string value. So first of all, this thing got printed, making call to a string constructor, the value b got printed over here, and this value was initialized somewhere over here. So it started from here, and it, here we have initialized. So first this happened. After that, the control went to this particular line, making call to integer constructor 20, right? And after that, because this line went over here 20, and this went over here, right? And after that, at the end, we are making a call to this particular line, right? So this is the reason why we try to make a constructor chaining concept, so that we are able to initialize all the constructor at once. If not, guys, we all know that if you want to initialize this constructor, right? If I create an object of this, let's say, constructor chaining will not happen. Constructor chaining will not happen over here. Let's say I try to provide a value string b, let's say Ram over here. Okay, then what should be the output? If I just uncomment it out, the output would be only making a call to a string constructor, right? Constructor chaining is not happening because I am not using this one, this keyword. Let's say if I make use of integer 20, then only constructor chaining will happen for these two constructors. It will go over here, it will go over here, it will print. So let's say this line got printed over here, and then making a call to integer constructor. So first string and then integer will get printed, right? First string and then integer got printed over here. I hope I'm making some sense. Okay, so this is how constructor chaining is all about. This is how it's going to work. And if somebody asks you what is constructor chaining, only give two answers, so that somebody knows that you know something. The answers would be right, so that we can invoke a sequence of constructors just like we have invoked over here, and so that we are able to initialize all the constructors from one single place. So we are initializing this constructor from here, that is over here. This value got passed over 20, but since it came over here, and this value again was passed over here, this got printed. So first line was this. After that, since we were onto this method, second line would be this and third line would be this. If we run it, let's see what happens. First is a string, then integer and a base constructor. I hope I'm making sense. Again, I'm reiterating, if we create a constructor of this particular type in which no argument is being passed, it will go, control will go to this particular line. After that, it will go here, and this will make to go chaining integer a, it will pass the value like 20, right? But over here it will go to this line and it will execute this full constructor. After executing this full constructor, it will going to execute this full constructor, right? And after that, once that is done, the initial control was over here, that's why it is going to print this full constructor. Basically means that entire executing the entire constructor, right? So guys, I hope I have made some sense. You guys are able to understand the concept of constructor chaining. This is very important, right? And the third line, it says if we do not do constructor chaining, we have to initialize parameters of all constructors, at all the places. We have to make changes to our initialization, right? And we have to make changes to all our constructors. So if you do not go with this approach, I have to create three different objects. One, I will be passing integer a, then I will be passing integer b. My three lines would be getting wasted, right? But in just one single line, I have been able to initialize all these three constructors. So this is the power of constructor chaining. I hope you guys have liked my lecture, enjoyed my lecture. So thank you for your time and patience. Thank you.